उमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we are seeing the description of the Lord seated in the heart. The Supreme Lord, He is seated as the Paramatma, Super Soul, in the hearts of all living entities. So here there is a recommendation given by Lord Kapila that a yogi meditates on that form of the Lord. And also in this specific verse we see how the yogi should also continue to meditate on the form of the Lord sitting in the heart, moving, standing, and his varieties of pastimes. So yogi should meditate on all of these things. Stitam, that means standing. Vrajantam, moving. Asinam, sitting. Shayanam, lying down, or Guha Ashayam, the Lord dwelling in the heart. And all of these are very prekshaniya, very beautiful. Ihitam, and all of his pastimes, dhyayet, he should visualize. Shuddha bhavena chetasa. Thus, always merged in devotional service, the yogi visualizes the Lord standing, moving, lying down, or sitting within him. For the pastimes of the Supreme Lord are always beautiful and attractive. So, how we need to apply this in our lives? Srila Prabhupada in the purport has given us few points. What is applicable for us? We people, we are all fallen conditioned souls, products of this Kali Yuga, in this modern society, keeping in mind our disturbed condition, fallen condition. What we need to do? So 4 very important points from the purport. Let us try to understand slowly. The first thing, Srila Prabhupada says, the process of meditating on the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within oneself and the process of chanting the glories and pastimes of the Lord are the same. Let me repeat it. Which two are the same? One is meditating the form of the Lord within the heart, and then chanting the glories and pastimes of the Lord. Both are the same. How is this? Let us try to understand. And why we need to do this also. 2 examples, 2 verses from the Bhagavatam I have taken. Let me read it out. Very beautiful verses describing the Lord. One is from the Gopi Gita portion of the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, wherein the gopis pray to Krishna. Na khalu gopika nandano bhavan akhila dehinam antaratma dhrik vikhana sartito vishwaguptaye sakha udeyivan satvatam kule. The gopis, they are praying to Krishna. O Krishna, na khalu gopika nandano bhavan. You are actually not the son of Mother Yashoda. This Gopika Yashoda, we are thinking you are the son of Mother Yashoda. No, actually you are not. We have seen you maybe lying in the lap of the mother, sitting, breastfeeding, all these things we have seen Mother Yashoda doing, but actually you are not the son of Mother Yashoda. Then who are you? Akhila Dehinam Antaratma Drik. You are the super soul seated in everyone's heart. Antaratma Drik. You see each and every activity of all living entities. Okay, you are Paramatma, then why have you come here? Vikhana sarthito Vishwaguptaye. Vikhanasa means Brahma. Lord Brahma had prayed to you earlier that looking at the distressed condition in this world, he had offered his prayers for your incarnation. Vishwaguptaye, for the protection of this world from demoniac forces. Lord Brahma had prayed to you earlier. So, Sakha Udeyivan Satvatam Kule. So, you have appeared in the dynasty of the Satvatas or the Yadus as the son of Mother Devaki, Vasudeva. So, you have appeared in this dynasty. We know about this. So, here in this beautiful verse, just simple expression by the gopis, we can see how when we just hear this, we can visualize Lord Krishna, son of Mother Yashoda, sitting on her lap. We can visualize Lord Brahma going and praying to Krishna. A lot of demons are there, so you need to come and help us. And we can visualize Lord Krishna born in the Satvata dynasty through Vasudeva and Devaki in the prison house of Kamsa. All of these pictures comes to our mind. So, one more example let me give you. One more verse, very beautiful verse. This describes the position of Maharaja Parikshit. Sarathya parashada sevana sakhya dautya Veerasananugamanas-tavana pranaman Snigdeshu pandushu jagat pranatim cha vishnor Bhaktim karoti nripatish charanaravinde. So here it is explained about Maharaja Parikshit. When he heard about Krishna's pastimes, what all pastimes? His pastimes of Sarathya, being the chariot driver of the Pandavas, of Arjuna specifically. And then Parashada, he was an associate of the Pandavas. Sevana, he acted like a servant for them. Sakhya, he acted like their friend. Dautya, as a duta, he acted as their messenger. Veerasana, he also acted as their night guard. Anugamana, he followed their footsteps. Stavana pranaman, as a younger brother, how he respects an elder brother, Krishna respects to Maharaja Yudhishthira. So, Snigdeshu pandushu jagat pranatim cha Vishnu. The Pandavas were very malleable devotees of the Lord. So Krishna acted in all of these capacities towards the Pandavas. So hearing this, Maharaja Parikshit, it is said, he became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord, just by hearing about all of these things. So now let us come back here to the purport what Prabhupada says. Meditating on the form of the Supreme Lord and the process of chanting the glories and pastimes of the Lord are the same. And Prabhupada gives the conclusion, the only difference is that hearing and fixing the mind on the pastimes of the Lord is easier than visualizing the form of the Lord within one's heart. So Prabhupada makes it clear. Both are the same. You sit in a place and meditate on the form of the Lord as given like in this portion of the Bhagavatam, and then just go on hearing the pastimes, the qualities of the Lord. Both are the same. But the second one is more easier. Which is the second one? Hearing. Sit and hearing the Lord's pastimes. This is easier. Just sitting and meditating, it is not easy. Why? Reason Prabhupada says, because as soon as one begins to think of the Lord, especially in this age, the mind becomes disturbed, and due to so much agitation, the process of seeing the Lord within the mind is interrupted. Especially in Kali Yuga, our minds are disturbed. If we simply sit and try to think of Krishna, then our minds are disturbed, will be simply agitated, we may not be able to do it. So we should also remember how Vyasadeva also says in the Bhagavatam, what is that? Prayena alpayusha sabhya kalavasmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadritaha. Upadrita means this only, disturbed in mind. By the influence of modes of passion and ignorance, mind is always disturbed. So in this condition, Shri Krishna Balarama ki jai. So in this condition, it is not recommended to sit and meditate on the form of the Lord. Of course, maybe in later stages that may be possible if a devotee is practiced in it. But for the sadhakas, the process recommended is chanting and hearing. This is what we are supposed to do. We have, just like in yesterday's class, we were hearing about Saubhari Muni. He was doing that, going deep inside the water and sitting and meditating there. But how? Just one simple activity, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, the regular activities of all animals, the fishes. He saw just about 2 fishes there. His mind got agitated, came out of the water, married the 50 daughters of King Mandhata. So all of these things. So this is not the recommended process. So just like how, see these examples, 2 examples from, just 2 verses from Bhagavatam I quoted. By reading this, main thing is we need to give our attention to hearing. If we are doing something else means what? Thinking. If we are sitting and thinking something, then we can't do hearing. Either we can do hearing or we can do thinking. Daily we sit in Bhagavatam class, or daily we sing whatever nice songs, especially morning song what we sing, Yashomati Nandana. All Krishna, so many qualities are given there. 26 in number. Just by meditating on that, just by hearing that, all those things, we can visualize that. We can, immerse ourselves in all of those qualities of the Supreme Lord. But if we are thinking something, then we cannot hear. So somehow we need to put our effort in hearing, giving our attention to the sound vibration, not thinking. Just if we do this, then all the benefits what is mentioned here of meditating of the Lord within one's heart, all those things we will be able to reap. That's what in the next line Srila Prabhupada continues to say. The second point, let us take up this. For example, even a child can hear and derive the benefit of meditating on the pastimes of the Lord simply by listening to a reading from the Bhagavatam. See, even a small child can do this. What is it supposed to do? Simply sit and hear the reading of Bhagavatam. That's it, even a child can do. And even a child can derive all the benefits. That's why devotees, like we have seen the little Krishna videos, nice stories, different varieties of ways we want to engage them. Somehow or the other, if a living entity gives his attention, gives his oral reception to the message of the Lord, towards anything, towards the pastimes, his activities, his qualities, just by giving oral reception to this, he becomes purified. Irrespective of he is a learned man, he may be a small child, in whatever condition it may be. Two examples are given in the Bhagavatam how this messages works. Shrinvatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridi antasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suhrit satam. So the Lord seated within one's heart, he cleanses our heart, he makes it pure. So whoever does this, so two examples are, first example is that of fire. How when something is set on fire, anything you go and put it, everything will be burnt into ashes. Or the fire, whoever touches it, it will burn. Whether an elderly man who is aware of the potency of the fire, or a small child who doesn't know actually what the fire is, whoever touches it, irrespective of whoever touches it, the fire burns. The second example is of medicine. The medicine knowingly taken or taken without the knowledge of that medicine. Many of us, we do like that. We simply, some problem is there, we go to a doctor or we consult someone and take some medicines. We may not be knowing actually what is the chemical composition of that medicine, how it works, but the details we may not be knowing. We may not be knowing the name also properly, but somehow we take advice, and if that medicine is taken in, it works. It acts after going inside what it's supposed to do, it will do, with knowledge or without knowledge. So likewise, that's what Prabhupada says here, even a child can hear and derive the benefit of meditating on the pastimes of the Lord simply by listening to a reading from the Bhagavatam. Actually, we are supposed to become like child only. In our we would have complicated our minds. That's why lot of disturbance, agitation, so many things will be there. Simply sit and hear. The medicine will act. If we don't hear, that is where all problems will start. We need to just simply sit and hear. This is the second point. The third one, Prabhupada says, in this age of Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya has recommended that one should always engage in chanting and hearing the Bhagavad Gita. So we have heard in Shikshashtaka, Kirtaniya Sada Harihi. Always chant the holy names of the Lord. Mahaprabhu has recommended these two scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Amalam Puranam, that's how he glorifies it. So, just by giving oral reception, it is Mahaprabhu through his personal example also, he showed this. Always engaged in these things, especially during his ending pastimes in Jagannath Puri. He just resided in one place, in the Gambira, in one room, and there he was day and night in the association of Ramananda Raya and Swarupa Damodara Goswami. Always used to chant, hear different songs praising the Lord, different pastimes mentioned in the Bhagavatam, and chanting his holy names. So this was how he was engaged day and night. So through his personal example also Mahaprabhu has shown and also has given the instruction for us to always engage in hearing and chanting about the Lord. So this is what Rupa Goswami also has summarized in his Upadeshamrita. Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya. Tannama Rupa Charita Adi Sukirtananu Anusmrityo, following the footsteps of great acharyas. We need to just go on hearing the message, all of these things. Tishtan Vraje Tadanuragi Jananugami, residing in Vrajadhama, in the association of devotees. How we need to Kalam Nayet, we need to engage ourselves, spend our time in these activities. Then, the last point. The Lord also says that the Mahatmas or great souls always engage in the process of chanting the glories of the Lord, and just by hearing others derive the same benefit. So what do the Mahatmas do? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions. What do? The Mahatmas. Mahatmanastu Mam Partha. That is the qualification of Mahatmas. 3 points are mentioned there. They are all Daivim Prakritim Ashrita, Bhajanti Ananyamasaha, Gnatma Bhutadi Mavyayam. The next verse, Machitta Madgata Prana. Okay, that's also there. Yes, correct. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavratah namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. So it is said how the Mahatmas Satatam kirtayanto mam, always they engage themselves in glorifying the Lord. And dridavratah, not somehow, if possible I'll do, if not possible I'll not do. No. Dridavratah, very determined. Always they chant the glories of the Supreme Lord. Dridavratah. And namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate, always offering obeisances. So when such Mahatmas, they glorify the Lord, they describe the Lord, the people who are hearing also derive the same benefit. Always engage in the process of chanting the glories of the Lord, and just by hearing, others derive the same benefit. So this is how the greatest of benefits, what what can be given. The Mahatmas, this is the greatest benefit what they give. This is glorified even by the gopis. They sing in that Gopi Gita portion. Again we can see how Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimadatatam Bhuvi Grinantiye Bhurida Janaha. They are the Bhurida Janaha, most magnanimous people who always glorify the Lord, who make others hear the glories of the Lord. Because the glories of the Lord, kalmashapaham, all kinds of contaminations, it will vanquish. So, whoever is glorifying the Lord, they are the most magnanimous people. So, the Mahatmas always engage in these activities and give benefit to others also who are hearing it. So we should also make it a point following in the footsteps of great Mahatmas like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like our Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Whenever, wherever possible, Kirtaniya Sada Harihi. Always we need to engage ourselves in glorifying the Lord, describing the Lord, His activities, His qualities, His pastimes and all of paraphernalia, everything related with the Lord. This is what is beneficial for ourselves and this is what is beneficial for others also. Just like with this, let us conclude. We have heard this pastime of the Brahmana Patnis. See how it is so much suitable here. What did they do? Simply they heard about Krishna and they did not go to some big institutes or whatever, some gurukulas or some temples and heard from very great Mahatmas. No, they just heard about Krishna from, I think, some fruit vendors or flower vendors who travel from village to village. So they all come from Vrindavana, all nearby places, and they were all describing the activities of Lord Krishna and Balaram, how they killed various demons there, how they lifted, he lifted Govardhan hill, how he killed Kaliya, varieties of these things. They just go on, spreading this news. They were so enthusiastic, eager to tell to others. And nearby another village, the wives of the Brahmanas, they were hearing continuously, regularly the activities of Krishna, and so much attraction, so much love they had developed towards Krishna, that in spite of their husbands forbidding them not to go and offer food to Krishna and Balaram and his friends, they did not stop there. Their attraction was so much, so intense that they went ahead, breaking the even the norms of the society. That's why they are glorified so much. If we look back, what did they do? They just heard and chanted the glories and everything related to the Supreme Lord. So this is the conclusion, what Prabhupada says. So here in this portion, Kapila Muni is recommending to meditate the form of the Lord as he is sitting, standing, varieties of activities as seated in the heart. But Srila Prabhupada clearly says, for this age of Kali, for we people, what is recommended is chanting and hearing. Pay attention to hearing the messages and everything related with the Supreme Lord. So we'll conclude with this. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.